So I guess it was 6 years ago now. My older daughter, Hannah, she was 5 at the time. She was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And the surgery to remove the tumor left her with life-threatening fallout that mainstream medicine didn't have any solutions for. So I'm a registered nurse, and so I delved into research, and with my husband, we began to look at ways that we could help her. So after the surgery, she had damage to the hypothalamus, which is a part in the brain that governs metabolism, and that part was damaged. And so she began to gain massive amounts of weight. It was just under a kilo a week, and she was tiny, this little 5-year-old girl. So within a few months of this surgery, she was wheelchair bound because the weight gain was so rapid. And, we knew that this was going to be a life-threatening thing if we didn't find something. And so, we looked for solutions, and we were kind of met with a lot of resistance from the doctors that were overseeing her here. We were told to, just be parents and don't try, and, you got to get used to this. And it was very difficult. And so for me, it took me on a journey as a nurse where I began to question the healthcare system itself. How can they tell me to get used to this? Like, how does that work? That doesn't resonate. I can't get used to seeing my child suffer. So I began to ask questions, and that was the beginning of my own journey of awakening, actually questioning the system that my daughter, was sort of stuck in. And we found solutions. One solution was a medical world first that we undertook at home. It was a hormone that was missing from her hormone replacement therapy. And it had a great effect on her emotions and she'd lost the ability to relate to us after the surgery. So this hormone, oxytocin, helped her to relate to us better. And so that was one thing that we did. And I got that published in a medical journal. So even today, I got a reference through on my ResearchGate profile saying that somebody else globally has referenced that paper that I wrote. So that was awesome. And then we also traveled internationally to get her help abroad. And so we had those things going on, but at the same time, I was very aware that I was becoming aware that there was obviously some underlying dis-ease for the tumor to have grown in the first place. And I didn't want it to come back, and I knew that it might come back. So I had to begin looking outside of the box and thinking about, what causes disease? And so I began to open myself then to things I hadn't considered before, like homeopathy, so I was really beginning to ask these questions. And then I think what happened was the crunch point came for me when I was doing really well helping her physically. We'd got the lap band to help with the weight. We'd been to Toronto to look at brain healing through laser therapy. And then her brain tumor came back. And I was so shocked because I'd felt that I'd done so well to keep her healthy. And yet this thing had happened out of my control. And I kind of felt that it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have grown back. Why? And there was this game-changing moment when in my living room, she was saying, I'm really hungry. And I said to her, it's not your fault. It's because you've had brain tumor, and this brain tumor has come back. And she suddenly screamed, I wish I didn't have a tumor. And the world just stopped for me for a moment. I had this realization that I've been fighting to keep her alive, fighting to find solutions, fighting for health and well-being. And I suddenly realized she won't ever be well for as long as I'm fighting for it. Fighting was perpetuating the energy of war and battle. No one can be at peace and well when they're fighting. And then I realized at that moment, it was just a moment that I needed to be in the frequency of love. And that was before I'd read anything spiritual. I didn't know about the frequency of unconditional love. I just knew that I needed to be in love with our life and how things were, even though it was hard.
Right. So just to backtrack a little bit, like your spiritual background pretty much started as a result of your quest to find a cure. I mean, so prior to your daughter being sick, like you had no understanding of energy healing or anything like that at all, or like any kind of metaphysical understanding whatsoever?
Yeah, nothing. I mean, I've
Oh,
always
wow.
been a bit out of the box. Like I did philosophy as an undergrad. So I've always asked questions about reality and, what does it mean to be conscious? What does it mean to be
Right.
alive? So I had that flavor in my background. But then when I became a nurse, later on, I did a master's of nursing later on. And so I had that philosophical background, but I was really black and white. And I thought there is no spiritual dimension. We're just here on this earth through a matter of chance and then we're going to die. Like that was me. That's
Right.
what I thought.
Right. Right. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So pretty much. So how Hannah, right? Her name.
Yeah.
So how's Hannah doing right now?
She's good. I mean, when I look back to where I was like in the year after Tumor, I was hoping that by the time hoping that she would reach her 12th birthday, first of all, and that she would have something like a normal life. And I would say that we've done really, really well. With the energy healing, I started to do the Reiki and I got qualified as a theta healer and they were all amazing. And I
I'm
use
sorry.
my
Did you
Reiki
say
every
theta?
day.
Sorry. Did you say theta healing?
Theta, yeah. Yeah, theta healing it's phenomenal. It's incredible. And what it does for me is it helps me on a daily basis analyze my belief systems and invite new energy in terms of healing Hannah. I didn't have any dramatic miracle healings that you hear about in the theta healing books, and
Mhm.
there's so many books written about these miraculous spontaneous healings. I
Mhm.
really wanted that. I wanted that for her so badly, and we didn't get it. But what I learned through this investigation into theta healing and energy healing was how to live my life better and how to change my perspectives of what was going on. And then I guess reality has molded around that, in that 6 years later now, um, life is good. It's still challenging, but it's good. And
Right.
it's
Right.
almost like I hoped it would be at this point.
Right. 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 So yeah, pretty much. What was the last message in the trailer that you made? Was it something along the lines of "It was me that needed healing"? That's the revelation that you came through, right?
That's right. Because I needed to heal my need to heal her. It
Right.
was to
Right.
recognize that the frequency of heaven is in the here and now, even when from a physical perspective, things don't look perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect. What's that? You know what I mean? When
Right.
things don't look like your ego wants them to look, it's still finding peace and joy and heaven in
Right.
that
Right. Right.
without needing to change it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that at around that time that I met you and you were part of that community and stuff, and
Yeah.
you published that book around that time, or was it 2018ish that you published the book, or was it like,
Yeah.
or has it been like a year and then like you revealed it to us? I can't remember.
Yeah, you're right. I think yeah, let me think. I think it was 2017 or 18. Yeah,
Okay, okay, yeah,
maybe
okay.
maybe 17. Yeah, maybe you got introduced to it a bit later.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah. But yeah, regardless though, yeah, that message like really hit me so hard around that time in my life. I really needed that message, and yeah, it was like, I mean, I feel like sometimes, because I'm an energy practitioner, my channel is all about energy and stuff like that, and sometimes I get so caught up in actually like, doing energy stuff too much, but I always, when it comes to like, healing myself, or when I have a crisis in my life, I always go back to your message and remind myself, like, it's like, it's not really all, sometimes, yes, energy is important. Yes, like moving energy around and stuff like that is important. But really, like, I mean, yeah, it's all about really healing myself.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
I have to really change my way of thinking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so that message was really profound for me. And I'm glad that um, read your book and stuff like that before I really dove into energy work and stuff like that, because I feel like that was like really the foundation for me
Oh,
to live a, or it was a good foundation for me to be mindful of my energy
yeah.
practices. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I know. I used to, really want to develop those gifts, that, we were talking about all those years ago. And I'd love to. My strongest energy gift is literally with my hands, because that was what happened spontaneously with Hannah. That was part of my awakening after having made the shift into moving into peace and unconditional love. It was like that was the frequency shift that then enabled my body to be ready for the next thing, which was literally the craziest thing, holding my hands over a crystal, which happened to be her birthstone. And then the hand chakras opening and pouring energy, and they don't stop. Like, even talking to you now, I can already feel the energy beginning to come out. Like, it's insane when you start to go into this, but I'd love to explore those, those gifts and, moving energy around and all those things that we used to talk about. Fascinating.
Right. I mean, you obviously, became like, pretty much, when we sort of parted ways a bit, from that community of back, the fall or summer, whenever it was, you pretty much, I noticed, I saw you on Facebook. You just kept doing activism and stuff like that. You didn't really dive too deep into, expanding your energy skills and stuff like that. Am I correct? Or
Yeah. There was a time when I was working a lot on OBEs and, really trying to do it. But I guess perhaps for me in this particular incarnation, it's not a focus point. Maybe my energies are best directed into other things.
right.
And I know, like, with my hands, I love doing energy healing and, I love giving Reiki, but the universe hasn't aligned for me to as yet. I mean, I do a lot of distance Skype consults with Reiki, but in terms of having a clinic, and getting a location and actually, I would love to do that, but it just hasn't worked out. So I'm still guessing the universe has other things in mind.
Right. So, I noticed that over the years, it seems like you have done a few different projects. What is your main focus right now, you would say? Because I noticed that you, correct me if I'm wrong, my memory is not 100% accurate, but didn't you have like I forgot what it was called, like some type of starseed project or something like that, and all that kind of stuff? And
I do that.
And didn't you also have like a YouTube channel of like some sort of I can't remember.
Gardening.
Oh, gardening. Oh, no, that's not what I was thinking. You had a gardening thing? I was not aware of that.
Yes, I've got Project Starseed. After I woke up and began to look into energy, I was really, really quickly gravitated towards the cosmic crowd. And because I've always struggled with the idea of being human. This is something that I've always struggled with. And I've always had this really close connection to the cosmos, to the stars, and I haven't understood it. So I think it probably was 2017, I started this movement called Project Starseed. And this is a movement and group for individuals who identify as having a cosmic heritage, whatever that means. And the word starseed can mean whatever you want it, whether or not it's, in my last life, I was a Palladian, or, we have a cosmogenetic heritage. We are the essence of stars. So it can be as broad or as narrow as you want to, it's how you want to see it.
Right.
So I've got about 2,000 people who have joined this I Am Starseed movement, and we've got a Facebook group. It's beautiful. People who are really working towards co-creating this new earth and higher frequency, really conscious people.
Right.
So there's that. And so that's still going on. And although I don't post much on the Facebook page, and I'm really bad with the group emails, but that's still going on. And the YouTube stuff, I'm very passionate about permaculture. And so I studied permaculture 2 years ago and then decided to make a kids YouTube series exploring. Yeah, it was kids. But I only made 3 episodes. They're kind of pilot episodes, and I'm waiting again for the next step with that. I'd love to take it further. But then 5G took over my life last year. So I had to kind of shelve that.
Right. So, yeah, it seems like your focus totally went from, following your passion to really transitioning to the activism stuff, which like I was telling you earlier, I really truly respect you for speaking the truth on these. I hate to use the word conspiracies and or truth, if you whatever you want to call it. It's you really are courageous. I call my channel is called Energy Warrior Ken. I call myself Energy Warrior and stuff like that. But really, sometimes I ask myself, I mean, me just meditating for peace to happen in the world. I mean, I do that every single day, but really is that, who's really making a difference, me or someone like you who's always doing activism? You know what I mean? Like that's a question that I have to ask myself heavily. I mean, kind of goes back to the story with your daughter as well. You do have to let go. You do have to, not worry, not be obsessed over, issues in life, but at the same time, there needs to be that balance. What do you feel about that?
Totally. I'm so with you. And I think a lot of activists get stuck into this almost energetic short circuit that perpetuates more activism. So to be able to do the activism with non-attachment and in the frequency of love, that's the challenge. And I think a lot of people who are very spiritual do kind of freak out when they enter into the activist energy, because then they find they're getting drawn into this short circuit and they're perpetuating war and activism. So it's, for me, like you're saying, it's an ongoing challenge to recognize I'm entering into the frequency of trying to ignite and catalyze change, but remembering the underlying frequency needs to be peace, unconditional love, and non-attachment to the outcomes.
Right. Yeah. That's
yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to sometimes perhaps find that balance, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like I don't look at all your posts, but I mean, because you're an activist and like you get a lot of comments and stuff like that. So like your stuff is always comes up on my newsfeed as like as like the main post and stuff like that constantly. That's why I'm was able to somewhat keep up with your work over the years. I mean, it's correct me if I'm wrong, but you were kind of labeled, like, I remember there was a big post one time, like, you were labeled as a, I forgot what it was. Like, didn't you make a post, of something like you were labeled as a flat earther?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Kind of.
In fact, I mean, the mainstream media has really, really attacked 5G activists this week here in Australia. Yeah, it's just awful, what's being said about us when we are peaceful, well-educated. Most of us are parents, and, that it's crazy. But we've been called, we've been lumped into everything that is anti this, anti that. Or we're pro-choice, we're pro-safety, we're pro-exploration. We're not anti. In fact, this week we had to change the names of our Australian Facebook groups for 5G, because we were called Stop 5G. And then because of what happened in England, Facebook took down a Stop 5G UK group that had 70,000 members in 3 nights ago. So we changed our names now to Sydney for Safe Technology, or Australians for Safe Technology, as opposed to Stop 5G, to really try and shift the energy around it, see if it works.
Cool. Okay. Well, so back to Hannah's story. So Hannah, pretty much, the theta healing and the Reiki. What was there any dietary changes that you have to make for her, and like, does she as a result? Yeah. Can you answer that question real quick?
Well, we are pretty much, I mean, I'm vegan. I've been a vegan for 9 years, and my younger daughter is Hannah. Hannah is, she's pretty much vegan. She only has a little bit of cheese, dairy cheese, that's it, tiny bit. So mainly vegan, dietary wise, and very clean. We grow a lot of our own salad stuff and herbs and things, filtered water.
Cool. So that along with your, doing a little bit of theta healing and Reiki and stuff like that, and just really embodying that spirit of just letting go and not worrying, has allowed her to heal and recover and stuff like that. Which is, I mean, it's a, I mean, I think I wanted to do this interview with you because, I mean, I wanted to post this in many different groups that I'm a part of that does, energy healing and stuff like that, to kind of give people hope, to show people that it's actually possible, And, I mean, that emotional attachment that you have for your daughter, I mean, to let that go. I mean, it's one thing to heal yourself, but it's another thing to heal such a young girl. You have so
Yeah.
much attachment for her and stuff like that, and love, and to let that go. I mean,
Yeah, I think as well, like I had to actually come to terms with the fact that she has her own soul journey. And so I was fighting to get her off meds. I thought I want her off her medications. If she's off, then she's healed. And she's not, she's on her medications and she still has health challenges. But she lives a good life. And so I had to recognize, what is it that you want? You want to prove to yourself that you can do this, that you can facilitate a miracle, or do you want her to be at peace and happy with her life and enjoying her life? And I thought, well, yeah, obviously I want her to be happy, and I need to recognize that her sole purpose here may not be what I want it to be. She may need to be continuing with this physical journey.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, just to come to that realization really sounds like it helped you out. And I think I feel like, for to whoever's watching this, I think once you can really just truly let go and realize like, hey, I'm on a journey, and like it doesn't matter whether I'm struggling or not. I mean, I think once you can, come to grips with that, that's when you can really truly manifest the healing. I think we get too wrapped up in that end result. I want this healing now. I want this healing now. I want this healing now, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Exactly. And then remembering that when taking, ginormous steps backwards from the here and now in the context of source of all that is, it's all healed anyway. There is no differentiation. It's only here that we see the lack, and here that we see the poor health, and here we see, what's missing. But there isn't. It's actually all perfect as it is.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's powerful. Any final thoughts, Naomi? Any message to people that are watching this that are going through health challenges and stuff like that, and
yeah, wow. I mean, it's tough. I just think that these challenges can be the best thing that happens to us. They can be the most transformative things when they're embraced.
Right. Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, when you use the word embrace, that's cool. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for this interview, Naomi. This was really educational, and what's your Facebook page called?
So I've got Naomi Cook, Nurse Naomi. That's one public page. There's the Project Starseed page, which I'm really bad at posting out. Got that as well. People are interested in the cosmic stuff.
Okay, awesome. So I'll put those in those two in the description. So thank you so much, Naomi, for this interview.
Thank you. It was lovely to meet you properly.
Yeah.